welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles, and welcome back to another video. Today, it's Thursday. You guys know what time it is. It is time for the Hot 10 Comics of the Week. That's right, the breakdown. If you guys aren't familiar with what I do in this video, I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down one by one, letting you guys know if I'm a buyer here at these prices or if I'd be staying away and possibly even selling. But before we get into the video, guys, like always, if you're not a current subscriber of the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. It really does help the channel out. Smash that like button on the way out and turn on the notification bell because it lets you guys know when I post new videos. As always, if you guys are not checking out my web store, mightycollects.com, I have some awesome new books for sale and, of course, some awesome merch. With that said, we're jumping in here at number 10. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 57 in this iconic Jack Kirby Doctor Doom cover. And a CGC 3.5. Just sold last week for $225, up 67% since December. While I love all things Doctor Doom and I love Jack Kirby, I'm not spending close to $300 on a copy of this book. You could have had this thing for maybe about $30 to $40 just about a year and a half ago. I think there's too much money to spend for this book at this grade. I'd be staying away unless you can get a really cheap copy. At number 9 this week is a copy of Uncanny X-Men 100, the original X-Men team versus the new X-Men team. This really is a nice looking book, and a CGC 8.0. Just sold the prior week for $310, up 16% over the 12-month average. While I love all things X-Men right now, I think this is still too much money to spend even for a high-grade copy of this one. It's a book I definitely would want to own in a lower grade for a cheaper amount, but I don't want to shell out $300 for a copy of this one. It's a no-go for me, guys. At number 8 this week is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 4, and of course the first appearance of the Sandman, but this is also the first appearance of Betty Brant, and maybe the why this book is shooting up. Hopefully she'll appear in that new Madame Web movie. I'm not too sure, but either way, CGC 4.5. Just sold last week for $2,295, up 7% over the 12-month rolling average. You guys know that any Silver Age ASM I think is worth it, especially if it's a major key like this one. However, I don't think they're going to use a Sandman going forward in a future MCU movie or even a future Sony movie. With that said, I still want to own this book for the long term. I do think it's a great buy if you're willing to hold on to it. At number 7 this week is a monster key, New Mutants 98, and of course the first appearance of Deadpool. And I am praying that we get some type of Deadpool announcement from San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. In fact, I'm banking on it. A CGC 9.8. Just sold the prior week for $1,995, up 11% over the 12-month average. This book is starting to heat up again. I think people out there are suspecting the same thing that I am, that we're going to get some type of announcement. But you know how I feel about this one. If you want to buy it, which I am a buyer, it's only at a 9.8. There's too many copies of this book out there. I'd be staying away at anything under a 9.8, but secures yours while you can. At number 6 this week is a copy of Fantastic Four Annual number 2 and the Origin of Doctor Doom. Now, this book has been on the list in the past, and I wasn't a buyer then, but guess what? I'm flipping my tune. I'm starting to be a buyer right now, but only if you can't go out there and buy the first appearance of Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four number 5. I think this is a nice alternative right now because Doom is about to heat up, and I think this is probably the second book I'd go to after the first appearance for those people out there who don't want to spend the money. With that said, a CGC 3.5 just sold the prior week for $488, up 3% over that 12-month rolling average. Again, like I said, I think it's a good buy if you can't go out and get the first appearance. This is the next best thing, in my opinion. It's going to be a big character going forward in the MCU. You got to own something related to Doom. At number 5 this week is a copy of Thor Annual number 5 and the first Tooth Gnasher and the first Tooth Grinder. What? The giant goats that pull Thor's chariot. That's right, we saw them at the end of Thor and Love and Thunder, and a CGC 8.0. Just sold last week for $115, up 12% since May. Am I a buyer of these books? No, even though I heard that Taika Waititi said that he was going to leave those goats for James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We'll see what he does with them. Regardless, I'm not spending $100 on this book, guys. I think it's a little bit of nonsense. Cool, funny things that we saw at the end of that movie, but again, I don't think they're investments going forward. At number 4 this week is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 238 and the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. We all saw Jacob Batalon with that Hobgoblin figure. Kind of give us an inkling. Maybe we're going to see him in a future MCU movie. I don't know. But a CGC 9.6 just sold last week for $1,200, up 20% over that 12-month rolling average. Am I a buyer of this book? Yes, I am, but for at the right price. I have an 8.0 copy of this book with the tattoos. That's the main thing, guys. Make sure it's complete. We don't want an incomplete copy of this book if we're going to go out and buy it. I do think we have to kind of stick to a 9.0 or higher on this one for it to be worth it down the line. I know I have an 8.0 copy, but it's just a kind of run filler to me, and my copy is signed by John Romita Jr. But either way, I want to own this book for the MCU going forward. At number 3 this week is a copy of Tomb of Dracula number 1, and of course the first appearance of Dracula. With that said, guys, there is a massive rumor out there that they're going to cast Anthony Starr, that's right, Homelander himself, as Dracula in an upcoming show or movie. And it's driving up the price of this book. And a CGC 7.0 just sold last week for $690, up 3% over that 12-month rolling average. Am I a buyer of this great Neil Adams beautiful cover? Yes, I am. However, I will say this, guys, you got to be really picky in what you're going to go out and buy this copy, okay? I'm not going to go out and just pick any copy up of this character. I want to go get a nice high-grade copy. I'm going to say 7 or higher, like this last sale just said. Normally, I would have been selling this book, but I got to be honest, if they're bringing on Anthony Starr, everybody is in love with him. They love what they did with the character of Homelander. I think he did an outstanding job, and it will only drive up the price of this book, so secure your copy today while you can. At number 2 this week is a copy of Journey into Mystery Annual number 1, and of course the first appearance of Hercules and Zeus. We know why this book is hot. It's been all over the list for the better part of a month and a half. That's right, we saw Hercules at the end of Thor Love and Thunder. What does that mean? That means he's coming to a future MCU project. And a CGC 5.5 just sold last week for $885, up 5% since June. To me, that is way too much money to spend on this character going forward. I know I told you guys that I was looking for a copy of this book for the better part of a year, and it just shot up way too fast. I think it's gone up way too much. I'm not spending this kind of money on the first appearance of Hercules, although I would love to own the book. I just don't want to shell out the cash. And at the top spot, guys, what can I say? They've done it again. It is a copy of The Boys number 1, and of course, the first appearance of all those great characters we love from the Amazon Prime series. And a CGC 9.8 just sold the prior week for $700, up 17% since 2020. This book keeps going higher. I knew it would. I knew it when it was on the list a couple of weeks ago at like just under $500. Now, last week it was a $550, and now it's $700. This book is going up way too much, way too quickly. I want it in the collection, but I'm not spending anywhere near that amount for this book. But use your judgment. If you want it in the PC, make sure you pay a good price and you're willing to hold on to it for the long term. With that said, guys, this is the list for this week. It is now time for my best buy of the week. And guess what? It is none other than Deadpool himself, New Mutants 98. But remember, 9.8 or bust. But I do think once we get that announcement and Deadpool shows up in his own movie, and then eventually in another movie, this book is going to skyrocket at that grade. I hope you guys enjoyed the list this week. There's a lot of great books on this list. A few new ones, which is always nice. With that said, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.